know it's probably not perfectly how you would draw it up, but after these two exhibition games, you play well in one, you get a win, you learn some lessons in the other. For a coach, is that kind of the best scenario?
Yeah, like I think that, sometimes it sounds like coach speak, it's really not. Learned a lot coaching in the Big 12 for 2 years, learned a lot about what the demands of league play are. And so as we designed our preseason, everything was about preparation, for what it's going to take to have success in the Big 12. And, if you look at, being able to go on the road against high quality opponents that are similar to the opponents you're going to face night in, night out in our league, and then the things that you could potentially have to deal with that could help you improve in your preseason, that's what the entire idea of it was. And in that sense, it was very successful. There was tons of opportunity to build confidence over those two exhibitions. There was tons of opportunity to recognize areas that we have to improve and be very serious about, and everything in between, because we're trying to learn our team as well. We got to play everybody significant minutes. We got to look at different lineup combinations. So as a coach, at this point in the year, there's so many dynamics to how to utilize those exhibitions, and I thought we got a lot out of them.
I may be wrong because I have been before, but the first game it looked like you just threw the ball out. The second game it looked like Arkansas had some tape and maybe scouted you guys out because they seemed pretty hell-bent on beating you.
Yeah, I think, again, it's not coach speak. If you want to try to overanalyze, the game, one game or the other game, I just think you're going to run into some trouble doing that. There was a different approach from our, now certainly, hey, the result felt good driving home from Ann Arbor. The result felt terrible flying back from Arkansas. And there's value to creating those feelings and those dynamics to help us get ready for the season. Again, everything was a tool here. But trying to kind of pick apart all this kind of stuff, it's kind of a waste of energy, right? It's obvious that we have a group that has the opportunity to be a great team. I think that's obvious from not just the 2 times we played exhibitions, but from our practices every day. And then there's obvious that we have a group that's new and is just learning how to work together, play together, and that we have to be very intentional every day about that process so that when we get to league play, we can be the type of team we expect to be. And then there's everything in between. So I obviously we've overanalyzed the games from a coaching perspective as a tool to improve our team, but outcomes and stuff we haven't. We didn't overanalyze the outcome of the Michigan game. We didn't overanalyze the outcome of the Arkansas game because that wasn't the intention of either opportunity.
You mentioned being ready for the Big 12. How much of this, obviously it's to get ready for the Houstons and the Kansases, but almost as important for the rest of the league when you have to go on the road and face some of those games that maybe aren't against a top 5 team in the country, to be able to get the team ready for that.
Yeah, and again, very strategic to go play 2 road games in October, or exhibition games on the road in October against great team. It's very strategic. I think I was honest about that in our first press conference. But the strategic part of it is, hey, let's go challenge ourselves, see what we can learn from that, see how we can use that as a tool, and let's let natural adversity occur and deal with it. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't predict what's going to happen because I don't control what Michigan does and I don't control what Arkansas does. And we're not really doing scouting reports like that this time of year because we're working on ourselves. So I don't know when I planned it out how that's all going to go. And honestly, I don't care because there's beauty in just having some real adversity or real success and then using that as a tool to get better. That's it. There was really very strategic thinking in that sense. but then let's see what happens and let's learn from it. And then at the same time, like we come out of the second half in the Michigan exhibition and we start a bizarre lineup, right? Like at the same time, as competitive as we all are, we can't waste these tools that we have in the preseason. We played a lineup we'd never practiced to start the second half against Michigan. We would never do that in a real game. There's things that we did in these exhibitions that we would never do. And some of them worked and were great, and some of them were awful. But it's so overanalyzing results, whether it was good or bad. We weren't, like as a coaching staff, we weren't celebrating after we drove home from Ann Arbor, and we weren't down in the dumps. I slept great on Friday night. I thought that was a great opportunity to teach and get our guys' attention. As we told the team after the Arkansas scrimmage, if we had done anything we practiced and that was the result, I'd be really worried. But we didn't do any damn thing we practiced. But that was a good opportunity for us. So, no, there was major strategy in the plan of this, and I think it will serve us well if we allow it to, moving forward throughout the entire year. But that's it. I think looking farther into it is a mistake. And I get it. That's all you guys have to go on. I'll say this. I've pleaded with anybody that'll listen to me. Could we do 4 or 5 of those in the preseason? Like, how much better would college basketball be, the product on the court the first day? Because those are practices for our team. And I would say 99% of coaches approach those the way that we do. We get more out of one practice, in terms of developing our team. Out of one exhibition, and we do 7 straight practices. Like, they're so valuable. And so I wish we got to do 4 or 5 of them, and I think we would be better off as in college basketball when the first week started. The basketball would be better.
I'm curious, since you bring that up, if you did play 4 or 5 exhibitions, would it be more difficult to not take as much from the games in terms of the good or bad rat poison that you've kind of talked about?
I mean, yeah, you guys, I love it, and I appreciate, we haven't given you a lot to talk about the last 5 or 6 weeks, so we get out in front of the lights, that's what you should be talking about. There's a little design there, right? So that's been good for us. It's been good for us to learn how that works. We've utilized that in our conversations within the locker room of, hey, don't listen when people are praising you because you had some success, and certainly don't listen if it's the other way. Like, this is important to learn as we go on our journey, because both things are bound to occur.
And then I'm curious, you had the kind of the first half struggles, and then you put Sincere and Day in the same lineup to start the second half against Arkansas. Is that something that fans could expect to see a lot, to see those 2 defensive stoppers at guard in the same lineup?
I'd say that don't look into lineups and stuff like that. We had 4 halves and we started 4 different lineups, I believe. So we're trying to figure out combinations. And again, if you have 5, 6, 7 returning rotational players, maybe you're in a little bit different of a position, but we don't. So there's a lot we're still trying to figure out. If we don't try to work through those things in the exhibition games, so we're not going to get as much out of it trying to work through it in practice. So yeah, I don't know how to answer your question, Keegan, other than we're trying to figure that out, but telling fans what to expect with lineup changes, I think it's too early for that.
Anything new on Jalen Haynes, and do you have any concerns about points in the paint? I mean, yes, you won against Michigan. No, you didn't against Arkansas. And again, that's all I have to go on.
I get it. I'm not faulting you guys for asking the questions. No, Jalen Haynes had a procedure. I just haven't had a chance to ask our media staff what we put out there yet or not. So I don't want to speak out of turn. I don't have an update on his timetable. It just won't be soon. He's had a procedure. He's recovering. But we still have hope that he could find a way to get back this year. And then when I get the go-ahead, so I don't speak out of turn, I'll kind of clue you guys in on everything that's going on there. In terms of points in the paint, I mean, that's putting like ball movement and rim pressure have to be a huge emphasis of this team offensively. So when we have great pace, great ball movement, and we find creative not creative, but all the ways that we practice every day to get rim pressure, whether that's through the post, whether that's through a cut, whether that's through penetration, whether that's through a great interior pass. When we create rim pressure with ball movement and with great pace, we're going to score plenty of points in the paint. Like analytically, not just the 2 exhibitions that you guys have, but we look at these things in every single live segment of practice. When we've done those things, it's looked very good. When we haven't, that we haven't done those things, then we have a little bit more trouble with points in the paint. The fortunate thing is that hasn't happened much. Like there has been very few practices where we haven't done those things, and then you look at the numbers and you're going, man, we didn't score enough around the basket or get fouled. Those numbers have been pretty good day in, day out. But we have to commit to the things that we need to do to create those opportunities. And so, like you looked at the Arkansas exhibition, because you guys got to watch that, we didn't do those things. So we didn't create those opportunities, and then points in the paint's a problem. But in a much more direct answer, I think Mustafa's excellent inside of 5 or 6 feet. When he got those catches a year ago, his numbers were excellent. He's been even better when he's got those catches here. He didn't get a catch inside of 5 or 6 feet other than a dunk on an offensive rebound, like an uncontested dunk on an offense, until the second half with like 7-8 minutes left in the game. And I don't know where it was, but it was late in the second half. So that's a problem. So we have to be able to establish that early. Baba is very, very good inside of 4, 5, 6 feet. That has to be established early. Sincere Harris is very good off the bounce, attacking the rim. We have to establish that early. Then I could keep going down the line. So I think I understand your question, Scott. I hope sometimes I don't answer every way you want me to. I hope I'm giving you everything you want today. But does Jalen Haynes not playing mean that we can't score around the basket? Absolutely not. I think we can be a team that uses our shooting, which is going to be significant, to do things at the basket. But we have to commit to all the little stuff. And when we've done that, it's looked pretty good.
Jalen Celestine just spoke to us a couple minutes ago. He said he was on that minute restriction versus Arkansas after missing some time this offseason. Is that going to be the expectation for him to still be on that restriction when the season opener comes next week, or are you going to let him full go?
I haven't had a chance to visit with Bob about that yet, but man, he's really good, and he stunk in the game, and I don't know if he told you that too. I say it. I mean, you saw his shot creating, or his ability to make shots, I should say. And even created some shots off the bounce for us. Like, he's a really, really good player and a really important player, but he hadn't played. So, we're working him back in, and as he starts to get his feet under him and learn our defensive principles, he has no idea what we're doing defensively yet because he hasn't been able to practice. I think we'll be better with him on the floor as we start to go. So I'm excited to get him back in the fold, and getting him out there under the lights was a big step for just him getting back in rhythm.
How important were these 2 games for Halveen? Looked like confidence continued to grow for him now that he's getting a little bit more opportunity.
His improvement's been so significant. So, I mean, again, maybe from your perspective, like it was great for you to see it. We've been able to see it in practice and through the summer and through the fall practices. But I would imagine for his confidence to do it under the lights probably helped him. But yeah, he's improved at a rapid rate, and we've all been very impressed. Even the players that were here last year talk about his improvement.
You had about 10 guys that averaged double-digit minutes, but would that be the plan early on in the season to try to get them that amount of time?
There's nothing about lineups, minutes, and rotations that you could read into for the plan for the season from the exhibitions. They were not approached that way. Just like schemes and scouting, there was, for us, I can't speak to the other people we played against. Like, I didn't ask Dusty or Cal what they did. Everybody's got to prepare their team the way they think gets them ready to play. We didn't do much scouting at all. I mean, Arkansas hadn't played before they played us, so we didn't talk about a play or an action. We gave them a little bit about who the players are that we knew about, and we rolled out there. So I'll say it again, from either game, whether it's rotations, minutes, lineups, we haven't done any of that like a real game, and that's by design. We're trying to give everybody opportunity to get out there and play. We're looking at different combinations. We're trying to sort that out as a staff with a bunch of new faces, maybe more so now than in most years, because we're still learning them. So there's nothing you could take from any of that kind of stuff that you could read into like a real game.
You mentioned before that you're never really satisfied, or you don't think your team's arrived at any point in the regular season. But in that first month, what are you looking for your team from a leadership, communication aspect, from defense, offense, or in terms of goals in that first month that you think that you could set your guys up for success?
Yeah, the things that we've emphasized since day one, that we've just placed a premium on, are the things that we have an expectation for, right? And that's when those things aren't met, Keegan, that's where you draw the line in the sand. And if they're not met on a practice where nobody can see it, we draw a line in the sand. If they're not met with an exhibition, if they're not met in a real game, you draw a line in the sand. It's those things. And we've been very clear from the first meeting what the expectations are, in terms of the approach and the culture and the things that we value that are external. We've been very clear on style of play stuff that we're going to establish right away. And then we've been very clear on some stuff we're going to work through. And I think it's for us in that locker room, it's being very clear and honest about that every day, and the players embracing that. And for the most part, they have. I mean, there were elements, in the Arkansas scrimmage where we completely got away from those things, and so it was a great opportunity to address them. In fact, it was awesome, right? And there's been practices where you get away from that, and it's an opportunity. But for the most part, when we've stood by those things, the improvement's been significant.
All good?